Bilingual web magazine. Dig Tokyo. Language and Education 005. English words about fatherhood and the changing role of the father in the Me Too era. NHK E-Tele, SNS Eigojutsu, # Father's Day, aired June 21st, 2018. 1. Prologue. On this show, we talked about a bunch of tweets related to # Father's Day. Of everybody on the show this week, Hide-san was the only father. He lovingly shared how his son presented him with a mystery object for Father's Day, and how he had yet to figure out what it was supposed to be. We touched on this in the show, but in America, fathers receive gifts that seem to have a lot to do with work. Power tools, lawn mowers, neckties, barbecue grills. All of these items are essentially a way of saying, Happy Father's Day, here's something you can use to do something else for us. As our commentator this week, Sasaki Toshinawa, explained, this means that the Twitter sphere is usually awash with # Father's Day sales and product-related promotional tweets. Our production staff had to go through a lot of those tweets to find messages that we could feature on the show. A post would be saying something heartfelt and beautiful, but upon closer inspection, it would be from the official account of a store or brand or other business, with an inconspicuous link or a call to action. 2. Fathers in the English language. In Japanese, there are a number of words for father. Otosama, otosan, papa, oyaji, chichue, etc. Likewise, there are many English words for father. Dad, daddy, pop, pops, an old man. There are also many expressions and idioms that have to do with fathers. Someone who is like a father to someone else but not related by blood is a father figure. A middle-aged man who gives money gifts to a young woman is a sugar daddy. A good-for-nothing dad that pays no child support is a deadbeat dad. Side note, the late George Michael had a fantastic song called Father Figure on his 1987 solo debut, Faith. Definitely worth a listen. Another common phrase is like father, like son, used for when a son takes after his father's mannerisms or interests. The English title for Japanese director Koreeda Hirokazu's 2013 film, Soshite Chichi ni Naru, is Like Father, Like Son. If you ask me, one of President Barack Obama's greatest achievements is how high he set the bar for fatherhood in the US. How he did as president may be up for debate, but his track record as a father is pretty clear. So many presidents before him were consumed by politics and government, often becoming de facto absentee dads to their children. Try to think of a fatherly presidential figure. Only a few names come to mind. Perhaps it was a result of President Obama himself being raised by a single mother, but it was clear he wanted to be there for his children. Ironically, compared to his tenure as an Illinois senator, which involved a lot of travel to and from Washington, D.C., being elected president and moving his family into the White House is what finally allowed him to spend more time with his daughters, Malia and Sasha. 3. This week's wardrobe. Basic necktie types. On the show, I usually wear a tie when I'm off on my interviewing adventures. In the studio, I stick with button-down shirts and no tie. However, as Father's Day is a day of tie giving, I'd like to talk about the basic kinds of silk neckties you can find. First up is the solid color necktie. First and foremost, a man should have a navy-colored tie, as they go great with both a navy suit and a gray suit. I recommend something in a deeper, darker color. The lighter, brighter colors are great for parties and the like, but don't really work in most business environments. There are varying degrees of shine and luster, but sticking with something with average shine is a safe bet. Next is the polka dot tie. Polka dots may seem a bit showy at first, but when you consider that in menswear you'll rarely find polka dots anywhere else, the pattern is easy to match with a variety of shirt and suit combinations without fear of overdoing it. The dots come in sizes both big and small, but for business it's best to go for the smaller, finer polka dots. Third is the regimental striped tie. Regimental refers to belonging to a military regiment, and it's a style that originated in Great Britain. Make note of the direction of the stripes. On British ties, the stripes go from left to right, while on American ties, the stripes go from right to left. Side note, It is said that the U.S. take on the regimental tie was proposed by none other than Brooks Brothers. These are great for both business and formal occasions. Other than these three basic patterns, you can find foulard ties, paisley ties, and much more. And not all ties are silk. There are knitted ties made from cotton, wool, and more. White button-down shirt by Universal Language. As we shoot our show on a blue screen, there are strict limitations on the clothes we can wear. And so early in the year, I made a bunch of white button-down shirts at different stores. This one from Universal Language is probably my favorite. It also doesn't have a wrinkle-free finish, which means it needs to be ironed after each wash. But the feel of the fabric is very soft and comfortable. Bird's Eye Suit Jacket by Universal Language. I ordered this suit from Universal Language in Shibuya. Up until this suit, I'd chosen entry-level fabrics exclusively. But this time I decided to go with a fabric from a long-established Italian fabric mill called Rita. Rita fabrics are high quality, yet reasonably priced. The fabric I chose has a pattern of small repetitive diamond shapes, often called a bird's eye pattern. Most often you'll see suits in solid colors or with pinstripes, but I also recommend bird's eye. The weave gives off a different impression depending on distance and light. Universal Language makes suits based on one of 8 model shapes. They specialize in Italian style, so I chose their Napoli model, which does away with the shoulder pads and has a distinctive slope to the shoulders. The overall effect of the finished product is gentler than the other suits I had made in the past. I quite like it. The key style choice here is the 3-roll 2 jacket. Whereas your standard suit has 2 buttons, a 3-roll 2 jacket has an additional button behind the lapel roll. The more compact V-zone means that even without a necktie, you present a slimmer chest and overall a more balanced silhouette. When I received my order, it was clear that the texture and the feel of this suit was different from the others that came before it. It's only natural that a higher price means higher quality, but I really believe I was able to appreciate the difference only because I started with entry-level fabrics, and I'm working my way up from there. Black Suit Trousers by Global Style. Black Socks by Isetan Men's. Wingtip Shoes by Regal. Black Glasses by Zoff. 4. Epilogue. As the Me Too movement continues to gain steam, American men, and American society as a whole, is reflecting on the sins of their gender, and the notion of what it means to be a man. Father's Day 2018 comes at a sensitive time. And so while it was, as always, an occasion to express our gratitude to our fathers, it was also a somber day for fathers to look back and take stock of their own actions, and think about what kind of fathers they want to be for their children. In America, there's this notion that if a parent can provide their children with the tools to live a better lifestyle, or a better life than their own, they've done their job. It is to that end that parents sacrifice and dedicate their lives to their children. What that means for fathers is that they are under pressure to provide that foundation for their children, which leads to stress and ultimately, in some cases, lashing out against their loved ones and even violence. In the past, those kinds of indiscretions were overlooked as just the price families had to pay. The fathers were doing their best, after all. No longer is that an acceptable excuse. What's more, it's important to remember that in America, a better life was measured in terms of material things and/or financial standing. But it is clear that going forward, a better life will be measured in terms of heart and mental well-being, character, and humanity. Since moving to Japan, I haven't gone to spend a single Father's Day in the presence of my father. In the second half of our #Father's Day show, we aired my interview with director Ron Howard, which was conducted at the Ritz-Carlton in Roppongi. It's a cozy, relaxing hotel that always puts me at ease before an interview. So someday I hope to fly my otosan and okasan to Japan first class, and put them up at the Ritz-Carlton. Language and Education 005. English words about fatherhood and the changing role of the father in the Me Too era. NHK E-Tele, SNS Eigojutsu, #Father's Day, aired June 21st, 2018.
www.digtokyo.jp.